Welcome to Single Tree Nation. I'm your man, Charlie Eblin, the host and owner of Single Tree Woodfire Barbecue. We are here to build community through undeniable hospitality, storytelling, and the perfect plate of barbecue. Welcome back to Single Tree Nation, guys. I am your man, Charlie Eblin. We always have our co-host, Mr. Derry Wells, the illustrious. Today is a really cool episode because we have a guest on today that is new to Rutherford County and making a very large impact and a huge splash, Mr. Derrick Coach Mason.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.
Man, thank you for having me on, fellas. I really appreciate it. Look, this is cool within itself, being between guy with shoe game, guy with hat game, two gentlemen in the house that got a lot of swag, and all I'm trying to do is stay afloat.
Oh, geez.
I've never had to somebody tell me I have swag, so I'm already.
Oh, you got all kinds of swag. You got all kinds of swag. I love it. That is outstanding. Outstanding. Well, welcome to Murfreesboro. Welcome to Single Tree Nation. Welcome to Rutherford County and MTSU.
Right.
You've been here for
less than a year.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what surprised me.
What, about 8-9 months now, I guess, total?
Yeah, right around there. You know, somewhere in there, somewhere between 9, almost going on 10, because it was in December. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, man, we're jumping on October. So, you know what? It seems like it was yesterday, but it also feels like I've been here for a while. So, you know, the cool thing is the people, the place. Rutherford County, you know, special place. I mean, it's hardworking. It's good folks, good people.
I've always thought it's the big small town.
Yeah,
like that kind of, you know.
You know, I remember when I first got hired. You know, it may have been a couple of weeks into my interim. You know, I head over to Single Tree, and we get a chance to sit down, and I'm doing a broadcast from there, and you know, I could tell right away just what type of person you were. The people that were in there. The food, you know, a lot of love behind the food. And, you know, I'm not saying this because I'm on the show. I'm saying it because I think I'm a pretty good judge of people. I
appreciate it. You've been back since, and I hadn't called you. So, you know,
man,
it means you like it.
Yeah. Well, look, man, I just turned 55, man, on Sunday. And the cool thing about getting older is that, you know, I don't have to make excuses for liking folks or not liking folks. Right? You know, I finally got my AARP card. You know, I'm in a space where you know I like to fight for causes and be around things that I enjoy. And you know, it's when you ask me, you know, would I take some time and to come through? I said, heck yeah.
I love it.
This is cool.
I tell you,
I'm stoked.
For a football coach at your level and for 55, you look fantastic. I mean, because like you see a lot of coaches that stress out, like they hit a certain turn and then this. You're doing well. You're doing real well.
Yeah.
So whatever you're doing, keep going. Let me just.
I wasn't gonna say 55. I didn't.
Brought it up.
I didn't Google your age.
I didn't either.
I thought you were mid 40s. I thought you were about my age. So, you know, I'm impressed.
I'm hanging strong. I tell you what,
your workout regimen is probably a little bit better than mine.
That's what a good woman and 2 daughters and 115 sons will do for you.
Oh yeah.
I love it.
That's what that does for you.
Yeah, keeps you on your toes.
It
right?
does. It does.
So, 10 months ago. Well, let's go back 11 months ago because I'm sure it was a few weeks before you walked in the room and said, "Hey, I'm the new head coach."
Right.
So you get that phone call. I'm assuming it was the AD that called you and said, "Hey, we want you to be the head coach."
Right. I'd had a conversation with Dr. McPhee. I'd had several conversations with Chris, and it just felt right. Sometimes you have to make sure that you're doing things for the right reasons, right? And I had stepped away from the game, not knowing when I'd come back. Little did I know I'd be at MTSU, but I tell you what, it just happened to be the right call, the right time with the right people, and to be honest, I'm enjoying every minute of it. I've learned on the other side of 30 plus years coaching and now getting back into it, man, you love every moment. You enjoy every day. And I think that call of wanting me to be back in it, me wanting to be back in it, and doing it at a place, man, that I had some familiarity with, it's been good.
So
really good.
When you got that call, were you already in the process of thinking, hey, I'd jump back in if somebody called me, or was it just out of the blue and you just went with that feeling?
Well, I thought I was going back to the NFL.
Okay.
I had taken a hiatus. It's been well documented. And when I left Oklahoma State, I enjoyed Oklahoma State. I did. Coach Gundy, I mean, one of the best, realest dudes in the business.
Yeah.
You know, skip the mullet. The dude is one of the coolest, like, dudes in the business, right?
I always thought him and Mike Leach are great for a soundbite.
They are, man.
You knew you were going to get one. So,
and knowing both, I mean, they're really good people, right? But for me, I just needed, some time away from the game, and taking that time working for ESPN and looking at it. I really thought I'd make my entry back into the NFL. I felt like I was ready for that challenge again. But in spending some time talking with my daughters and talking a little bit with my wife, and just not wanting to be too far from them, right? Mm-hmm. Because, hey, I mean, I could have found myself in maybe Seattle, maybe Pittsburgh, maybe Atlanta, friends at all those places, guys that had taken jobs, and my name was out there, but I felt like, for me, what made sense was sticking a little closer to home.
Sure.
Being around my family.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. And you know what? My daughters, would probably get on me for saying this, but because I didn't consult them like I should have, so I probably should have consulted them a little more. But in the process, it's been great to see how they've responded to me being back in it. They know why I do it. They know that I love the ball, but I love teaching. Right. And I think once a teacher, always a teacher. And so for me, this happened to be the right place because it was an educational institution in a place where it's blue collar. Yeah. And I think I'm blue collar.
Yeah.
I'm a state educated kid.
Yeah.
Public school, high school, public school, college. And like, to me, I think I got what this place was. I've been at different places, but this place appealed to me more than
So that kind of segues into a question I got for you. So
yeah,
I hear you say, and I see it all over the place, you talk about being borough built.
Mm-hmm.
Now, for me, I'm a one-liner. Like I love that North Star kind of, this is what we're going to be.
Yeah.
We say at the restaurant, we're on a mission to become the Nike of barbecue.
There you go.
Right?
Yep.
So to be borough built, what does borough built mean to you?
Yeah, borough built means to me, when you come to the borough, you look around Murfreesboro, I mean, you see what it is. I mean, it's a town of, hardworking people, that understand that this community truly means something to them. They talk about the borough, right? They fully represent the borough, and they call it the borough. And
that's what I was going to say.
And to me, that's a name of affection, right? You can call it Murfreesboro, but they call it the borough,
right?
Yeah.
Right. And so if you borough built, okay, and this place has got a lot of love in and around it. So if you're borough built, man, it's on this platform of love, and then there's this platform of hard work, and then there's this platform of trying to be the best version of yourself. Because when you look at this community and how it's grown up by its bootstraps. It's pulled itself up. It's become a place where people want to raise their kids and family. And so I'm proud to say borough built, right? Because I believe that it encompasses the things that are extremely good, along with the things that are extremely tough about, like, life, right? Life is not, constantly, going to go your way, man. But if you're borough built, man, you'll find a way with the people around you to make it through. So I'm proud to be, in this moment where we're talking about being borough built, and we're building a program that's built on this community, right?
Yeah.
It's built on, like, connecting with the community and understanding that when you go to the farmer's market, or when you support local businesses, or when you and head out to the local high schools and recruit Rutherford County, what you start to understand is, man, this place got a lot of pride about it. Okay, man, and I think for me, those things stand tall about, how I see Murfreesboro. So I talk about it that way. I mean, I try to give context to the things, man, that I see, and being borough built means something.
Yeah.
You talked about building a program based on this community or within this community.
Yeah.
I know that, excuse me, we've had a lot of athletes that come through Murfreesboro. You can look at, there's some in the NFL right now. You got Juwan Jennings, you got Sonny Gray, who was in the MLB, and you got different players, and you got a bunch of them scattered all over the college level right now. Yeah. And it always kind of had this feeling like we can't ever get anybody to recruit locally. And then you step in and immediately you start putting out those contacts for guys.
Yeah.
What's it like to go up against like the UT? Because I know that the kid from Smyrna, Carter, he goes over there and you kind of like almost hate to lose him because he's in your backyard. But you realize that you're on a playing level, even though it's that local feel. You know what I'm saying? And so what's that like to kind of still try to keep that hometown recruitment style with going against those bigger names or bigger programs?
In today's landscape of college football, I don't think you worry about it as much. I think you really have to work hard to protect your borders, right? A loss to UT is not a loss.
Sure.
Right? I think UT is a different program. Coach Heupel's done a terrific job, and how they're recruiting and what it looks different because they're more national.
Sure.
And anytime we have national recruits in and around our space, that's what's going to happen, right? And so, like, kudos to Tennessee for being able to keep a Tennessee kid in Tennessee.
Sure.
Right? I think
I
that's
literally
important.
had this exact conversation on the way over
here.
Okay.
I think that's important. So, I mean, if we can't have them, hey, man, go get them.
Sure.
Right? I mean, if we can't have them, the Vandy's can get them, go get them. But here's what I'll say, right? I think it's more important that those kids know that we did recruit them.
Right.
And that if things ever go awry, okay, man, nowadays with the transfer portal.
Right.
They feel much easier about having been recruited, having had a chance to see you, know you, learn you. And
you think the portal makes it easier for you in the future?
Yeah. I do, because I think it's going to be a bounce back.
Yeah.
Or like a ricochet scenario, right? It's going to happen because, some kids are going to go out of state. Right. And when they do go out of state, because everybody's doing it for different reasons. Sometimes it's home life. Sometimes they just want something different until they realize that different isn't always better.
Sure.
And then they miss the borough. They miss home.
That's right.
Right. They find themselves saying, you know what, man, I want to be back home. And
I've lived my whole life in 7 square miles. So yeah, that's the thing. So we get it.
And I think that's the landscape that we're in. So we have to recruit them regardless of where they decide to go, because when they do make a second decision, we always want them to feel welcome coming back home.
That's awesome.
Right.
That's awesome.
That's a great answer.
That's amazing. What? So if I don't ask you this question, my father's going to kill me.
Yeah, come on.
Okay. So we became fan of yours at Vandy, and how you took that program from what it was to what you built it up to be, which I thought was just absolutely amazing, because nobody thought Vandy could do anything. Right?
It definitely got a lot more screen time.
You did an amazing job. I love it. So now you're here, right? Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it is, one of the questions I got was what do we have to do to get MTSU to an SEC level, whether it's actually playing in the SEC, and here's why the question is MTSU used to be, and I don't know if it still is, but it was the largest college in the state of Tennessee,
largest undergraduate, right?
For undergrad, right? So
Yes.
if we have the largest college in the state, a couple miles away, why can't we build that program to that level? And is that what we've done in the past, or is that something that, how do we get there?
I think there's things that the bigger powers that be
Yep.
may not necessarily have the appetite.
I got you.
Okay, for that. That doesn't mean that it's not possible. They just don't have the appetite for it yet.
I got you.
But that doesn't mean that we don't create the appetite.
Yeah.
I think what happens is this, right? You let your student population, your graduate population, what you're able to do with degrees, undergraduate opportunities, those things sort of drive funding, right? Drives resources a little bit. But when you can have successful programs, like what I've seen, because MTSU's got strong history. When you go back, whether you're talking about Boots Donnelly, whether you talk about the Murphy era, whether you talk about, what happened under Coach Stock and what he was able to do over his tenure, the thing I'll tell you is, just like they came from the OVC, to FBS, there's always the ability to jump, but I think the resourcing has to be put in place. I think as Murfreesboro continues to grow, as Middle Tennessee continues to grow, okay, and some of the facility ideas, comparisons, opportunities, along with our connection to Nashville and being in proximity to a major airport, I think all these things start to play.
Right.
Nice.
Into long-term what MTSU could be.
Yeah.
I think what we have to do now is go build Boise. We have to go build, this place that competes, okay, with the best groups of 5 program. We just played Memphis this past weekend, and Memphis, they've been able to be considered one of the top group of 5 programs in the country. We need to go there, and we need to go there sometime within the next 4 to 5 years. Yeah. And then I think once you do that and you can do it consistently, now you start knocking on the door and people have no choice but to, look at what you're doing and what it looks like, because between your city, between your, financial viability and really, your talent. Because that's one thing when you look at the Mookie blocks, when you look at what Middle Tennessee does talent-wise across all platforms, there's as much talent here as you find in a lot of states.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And it's right down the middle corridor. So
and it starts early.
Yeah, it starts early. Yeah. So I from baseball to basketball to football, I like the potential. That's why I came here. I feel like this place is a gold mine. Yeah. And so to me, the potential of this place is huge. Are we going to get there overnight? No, it's not going to be overnight, but I tell you what, it'll be faster than most.
Yeah.
I love it.
You mentioned Coach Stock. Do you reach out to him after you take the position and just to get a feel of what you're jumping? Because was it last year they go down and they beat Miami? And so you've got that. It's on and now we look at what Miami's doing. Miami's playing, top 10, top 15 football right now. They look great.
No doubt.
And so it's not that MTSU's incapable.
Yeah.
It wasn't that Stock was incapable. But do you reach out to him and say, hey, give me a buffer, give me a line here of kind of what I'm walking into, or do you just completely come in and try to, you respect what he did, his history from here, but now we're just going to make it the Mason era and move forward from there?
You know what? I give Coach Stock, always have given Coach Stock nothing but praise and credit because I know the man.
Yes.
And if you know the man, you know, I mean, as a father.
I never heard anybody here speak one single word poorly about him, top to bottom.
As a father, as a coach, because I like his son Brent had a chance to work with him for a little bit. I didn't have the opportunity to talk to Coach Stock. I wanted Coach Stock to take some time away from it, just like I did. I really didn't want to talk to anybody.
Sure. Okay.
After Vanderbilt, I really didn't want to talk to anybody. I just needed some time alone just to gather my thoughts with me and my family and just digest what had just transpired. And, knowing that myself, I wanted to respect his space. I know he went down to Florida State. He's with Mike Norvell, and me and Mike are good friends, and I know he's going through it, right? So I think what you do is, man, you give people time.
Sure.
And then at the right time, we'll have a chance to, sit down and really, have some sweet tea and talk about, all things MTSU. Because
I know a barbecue place y'all can meet at.
Oh, facts.
Facts.
We
got good
now.
Sweet tea.
We're going to get there now.
My wife makes that tea. It's good, but it's that good Southern tea. Yeah. It's more sugar than it is tea, but it's all right.
Just the way I like it.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah. All right, so you kind of brought it up and we talked about it a couple weeks. I don't even think it's in our notes anywhere. But would you prefer to build a program from scratch or take over a championship team?
There's pros and cons to both. I think for me personally, taking over a championship team, you know, what Coach DeBoer is doing right now, incredible, right? I saw David Shaw when I was at Stanford take over for Jim Harbaugh, and we had just won. And there's a lot of pressure in that, but there's also a lot of familiarity. There's a lot of a challenge to it too. I think as long as you're not about ego, taking over a championship program, you know, you say that the wins can come faster, but that's if you understand how the culture was built. I think you have to have a clear idea of how the culture was built, man, because if you come in with a new culture into a program that was built a certain way, well, then what you can do is set it back, right? And the good thing about coming into a new program is that you can set the culture. You can set the standards and expectations of what it looks like. Not saying that you can't with a new one, but you're the new guy. So when you take over a program, and I'll tell you, you know, man, right now, it hasn't been as easy at Michigan as most people thought, you know,
that's a great example.
With what it would look like, because when you don't sit in the seat, you don't know what you don't know. Then all of a sudden you sit in the seat, and you know those things that you were privy to but not responsible for, okay, look different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so now every decision you make is questioned, okay, because we did it that way and that's how we won. Okay, right. Man, you have one loss, and now, man, you have the wrath of a fan base, you know, man, at you. So, like, to me, I think either one presents great opportunity. I just think you have to have enough humility, wisdom, and great people around you in taking over a winning program, as well as knowing who you are. You have to have, like Coach DeBoer, what he did taking over for Nick Saban,
right?
Coach Saban, the GOAT,
right?
That's no easy task,
right?
Because you know, when you win, everything's great.
It's like what Saban said a couple weeks ago about the NIL, and he was talking to McAfee. Yeah. Or who was he talking to?
Yeah, it was Pat McAfee, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think it was. Where he said it. NIL doesn't make a difference. You still got to put the players in the right position.
Well, like that's what it comes down to, right? I know there's been some commentary about, you know, the quarterback position at Florida State and how, you know, like how that's worked out and what happens. Let me tell you something. The portal is not a fix-all. Right. And I think that's what Coach Saban was alluding to. Yeah. You know, it's not a fix-all. You still got to be a developer of men. You still got to be a leader of men. You still have to be a CEO. You still have to be able to make sure, man, that it's not just transactional. Like college football is not the NFL, right? Yeah. And so when you see, you know, something,
they're still kids.
Well, you look at what happened at UNLV, right, with the quarterback situation, and everybody talking about, you know, like the idea of like, why would he do that? And I'm not dogging the media or anybody, but we've made that. Yeah. Popular. We knew this was coming, because when we put these things into action without any type of structure or formatting around it, you know, you were going to get a guy that looked at his stats 5 weeks into the season and said, okay, I need to re-up my contract. Right. In a place where we aren't doing contracts, because that hasn't even been. I mean, the NFL has a collective bargaining agreement. College football just has, a man's word. So if a collective or somebody tells you, hey, this is what we're going to do, you hope that's it. But this young man says that they haven't lived up to the bargain. Yeah. They say they have. Yeah. And now what you have is a football team trying to figure out who their quarterback's going to be. Right. Yeah. Right. It's crazy. Yeah.
You talk about building men, and there's a guy on your staff that came through Oakland when he was younger, Josh Smith. Yeah. And you had him at Vanderbilt. Yeah. And how does that? So you played a part in building him up. because you got him in those younger years, and he becomes, I think he's a father now, right?
He is a father.
He's got all that stuff going on, and so he's really got that solid platform in life that you played a part in. How does that change when you go from building a young man to now working with that person, and the dynamics of how that looks like? Because you know what he was then, and you know the part that you played in that. So you know that dynamic. What's unique about that?
You know what? It's interesting that you bring up Josh Smith. I mean, I coached his brother Emmanuel as well.
Yeah.
His father Demetrius Smith works at MTSU. Officer Smith is actually my Saturday police escort.
Okay.
So I thank Mr. and Mrs. Smith for allowing me, first of all, because I believe when a parent hands you your child, what they expect is a better product coming back to them than the one they drop off.
Yeah.
Right. And so I thought in my mind, okay, I felt like I had a responsibility to each one of those student athletes. I actually have 4 guys on my staff that played for me.
Okay.
At Vandy.
Wow.
They're all parents.
Wow.
They're all fathers. And I think the important thing is I didn't try to be their dad. I just tried to hold them accountable, okay, for the things they said they wanted to be.
That speaks volumes to you.
Yeah. Well,
to who you are as not only as a human being, but as a leader, as a coach,
as a
mentor, the whole thing. For 4 of your players to go, hey, coach, can I come work for you? That's incredible.
You know what? I mean, I've been blessed beyond belief to have guys that wanted to come back. Josh's trajectory is ridiculous. I mean, Josh will be in the NFL. Bryce Lewis, who's been with me at Auburn, Oklahoma State, here, play with Josh. I mean, incredible. Darius Sims, incredible in the recruiting and player development department. I think as you look at what's happening nowadays, it's easy to be in a foxhole with people, who you've been through battles with, right?
Sure.
We've been through battles. I mean, and the battles weren't just on the football field. They were just, working towards a degree. How do I handle relationships? What does this look like? How do I navigate this academic space, man? That's really tough, Coach. We talked about things other than football. Football was what we did, not who we were.
Sure.
So I think being vulnerable in that space showed them that I was a husband, a father, a coach. But really what I wanted to do was just make a difference.
Sure.
Right? And I think I got more I think I got more from them than those guys got from me. But like in the end, I thought there was always a mutual respect and love, because no matter what happened, no matter what the outcome was, they knew I loved them.
Right. Coach Corbin had,
Coach Corbin.
that dude is special. And that's everybody's, because that guy, I've never met him, but he's got all the it, right?
Yeah,
and
all that it.
Yeah, and David Price had a time when he said, "I just want to quit and go work at McDonald's." And so that really got me to thinking about how college coaches, y'all do. You said it's much more than football.
Yeah.
The conversations y'all are having, because these boys are, whether they're away from home or whether they're doing, whatever it is, it becomes a stress. It becomes a thing for them, and y'all are guiding them through some tender years. So for much what you were already alluding to, when you've got those 4 young men who come back and say, I've been in that foxhole with you, and I want to stay there with you, right. But they still see you as that leader, that goes back to speaking volumes about who you are, because that's impressive. Because there's not a lot of guys, and this is a guy thing, there's not a lot of guys I can say that about. I got about 4 in my life that I'd call up like right now, and people don't understand how much that speaks about the person when they're still sought after like that. So that's incredible for you.
Well, thank you. I think this much, right? It's not the name on the headstone. It's the stories and legacy that continues to be shared way beyond what you were able to do here on earth, in my opinion, right? And all I want to do is make a difference, right? I think like this much. And I don't talk about that in a negative way. I talk about that in a way that some of the best men, like in my life, were coaches. People who stepped in the gap, who understood, where I wanted to go, what I wanted to become. And those relationships from Leslie Frazier to Andy Reid to David Shaw to Jim Harbaugh. I mean, like all these men were men when I needed to talk or needed an opportunity to grow, man, and they listened. And, you know, like some when I was 17, some when I was 30, some when I was 40, right?
Do you still know your high school coach?
Yeah.
Okay.
Dr. Gary Somo.
All right. Mine's LeBron Ferguson.
How about yours?
And
LeBron Ferguson.
And look, he's at PCA now.
Yeah.
But walked into church, I don't know, 3 or 4 months ago, summertime. I was like, hey, Coach
Well,
Ferguson.
when we first started, our freshman year, it was Nolan.
Yeah. Yep.
Coach
That's
Nolan
right. He was the
the
freshman coach.
football coach.
And so, but LeBron Ferguson, he's my position coach, O-line.
Right.
And you knew your head coach, but you had something with your position coach, right? Yeah. And I mean, I've been out of high school now almost 25 years, and I saw him at church. I walk in, and I was like, "Hey, coach!" Like, and I started smiling. He asked about my brother. Still knows the family, you know, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. And so you talk about being those that just developing and knowing and reaching back. They're men when we needed them to be. And he always comes to mind. Anybody says somebody, you know, your coach, there's always Coach Ferguson for me every single time. So
I'll tell you a funny story, right? I was coaching with a gentleman, probably one of the most decorated college D-line coaches in the country, Randy Hart. And this is when I was at Stanford. And he told us a story about Coach Hayes, right? Because he played for Woody Hayes at Ohio State. And he says, you know, Coach Hayes, you know, you loved him. And he got underneath your skin at times, but he always let you know he loved you. But he goes, this one time, you know, when he said something to me and in practice, and I you know, I mean, I was beside myself, you know, and he stayed after me, and you know, he told me afterwards. He put his hand around my neck and he said, "Hey, you know, it's gonna be okay." And so he said, and he had seen this before, but it just happened to him. And this is back in the day when you used to have the showers and everybody showered together and coaches and players showered together. So he says he sees Coach Hayes down at the corner of his eye, and you know, he's moving down shower to shower, getting a little closer to him in the shower. And he's like, man, what's Coach want to say to me? And he says, Coach Hayes finally got next to him, and you know, in the shower, and he's looking, and he says, "You know I love you, right?" And he was so mad at Coach Hayes that he didn't even want to say anything.
Right.
But he said he broke down and gave him a hug in the shower. And he said that, at the end of the day, he said, I know that sounds awkward, but he goes, you know, he just had a way of breaking you down.
Right. That's right.
And I think
saw him
this
coming,
month,
shower stall, you knew.
He said it felt like it was like 15 shower stalls down, but he saw him coming. And I guess what that speaks to, like today, you know, is that you know, you got to love them, as much as your coach.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I think if you do that, the lessons that they learn from you, the lessons that you took from your coaches, man, go way beyond the football field.
Yeah.
They just happen to be football, you know, built.
Yeah.
But they're life lessons.
Life lessons.
Right.
Yeah.
Life lessons.
Right.
Yeah. I say that all the time about my kids. You know, I got one that's in college now, UTC. But the other two are middle school age.
Yeah.
And they all play sports, and they're all doing everything. And I tell all their coaches all the time, like the game's cool. Mm-hmm. That's great. You're teaching them how to play a sport. That's wonderful. But I want you to teach them way more than how to play a sport.
It's a pathway.
It's a life lesson more than it is how to swing a bat or throw a ball.
Absolutely.
Or hit somebody or whatever it is, right? It's just a vehicle to get to where you're trying to go.
That's right.
The students I have in class, and I've got some that I do get under their skin, and you could see that light, kind of that twinkle in their eye at the, you know, class days over, whatever, and you walk up like, hey, we're good though, right? And that little fist bump goes a long way.
Yeah, it does.
And like, oh, yeah. And they'll come back in tomorrow, and they're just right back, and they're ready to go. And you know you reached them in that moment.
Bring it back to zero.
That's it. Bring it back to zero. So,
all right. So look, we've covered a lot, but we're coming up on the end of October.
Yeah.
All right. Next month in November, we have an important football game for me. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I don't even know if you know that I'm involved in it, but the Salute to Veterans game. Okay.
The service. Yeah.
So we do a lot of cooking for all the veterans over there. And the last year was in that little alleyway over there next to the stadium. But
Right.
what are the big plans for this year? Because I've been told, and I don't know if this is true. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I've been told that you came in and said, "Hey, we need to step this game up. This needs to be something." So, what are the big plans that coach has got in for the salute game?
Well, much like you, I think what we do for our salute to service game needs to be something that is special, right? I mean, we all either know someone who served, related to somebody who served, or has lost somebody who served. And in this, like to me, my stepdad was a military man. Went in as a high schooler, straight out of high school, and actually retired, from the Air Force. And for him was always extremely proud of that. And he helped me understand things about myself, like in this. And so as I look, I mean, I just always want to honor service folks the way they should be honored. I mean, anytime that you take an oath for your country, like to serve, in our military and go abroad and be willing to take those experiences anywhere, anytime, any place, you deserve to be honored in a way that's befitting a king. So hopefully, as we're getting into this, because I know there's some larger people at play than me. I know my words say a little, but what they're going to do means a lot. And so I can't quite just let it out yet because we're getting closer.
Okay.
But I'll give you some tidbits as we start to move this thing into high gear as salute to service comes our way.
Well, I have some meetings in the upcoming weeks, so I figured since we had the public forum, I would ask, and if you could tell, you would, but if you couldn't, that's fine too. So stay tuned. Because that's coming.
It's coming.
It's coming. And I can tell you, if you haven't seen Coach around town yet, you probably will. and
go to one of the local high schools on Friday night.
He is.
No, probably not during the season. Though. It's a little tough to do now, isn't it?
I'll be out on Friday night.
Okay, there you go.
This Friday night, I'll be out.
Hey, Thursday night, there's a game in town.
Where?
Siegel, Oakland. At Siegel. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
I got to talk to my recruiting coordinator,
There
man. He didn't put that on my radar.
It wasn't on the calendar?
No.
All right, so every week we do a segment called Mac or Beans.
Okay. Let's get it.
So it's a couple of questions. I think we had 3 on the radar. We already hit one of them, but the first one is you're ordering barbecue, and I already know the answer, but for our wonderful listeners and viewers, do you like mac and cheese with your barbecue or beans with your barbecue?
Listen, I'll be honest. I really like mac and cheese with my barbecue. Now, I'll take some beans every once in a while, but if you asking, it's mac and cheese.
Mac and cheese. I love it.
We should have started keeping a stat with this at some point.
Yeah. We should have. We should have.
We dropped the ball on that one.
Yeah. We can go back.
No, we sure. It's not like we can't research it, can
right.
we? Hey, the other half of that, you've had a life of football. Playing football or coaching football?
You know what?
Stipulate that.
Coaching football. I think you can only play it for a time, and that time is not always up to you. Coaching, it's been as close as I can get to the game.
Sure.
And it's probably given me back as much as I've tried to give it. So, coaching.
That's awesome.
Do you feel that coaching sometimes even is closer to the game than actually playing it because you're not the quarterback, or you're not the right tackle, or you're not the cornerback.
Yeah.
Right. So you don't have your role in the game, right? You, as the head coach, you have the role, right? You're coordinating all of it.
Yeah. I think the ability to have a group of people get together and do something, offense, defense, and special teams, that has an outcome that becomes celebrated, in moments of victory that can become jeered, and in moments it just allow. I mean, it's a big responsibility, but I think it's not even the responsibility of it. I tell you what's fun about it. What's fun about it is seeing people accomplish things that maybe sometimes they thought were capable, but they never really knew until it was done. Mm-hmm. Because in order to get to it, you got to go through it, mm-hmm. right? We've all experienced that in life, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, man, you're close, but the last 6 inches takes everything that you got. The last 6 inches of the breakthrough and breaking through the wall, or having the win, or getting the experience. You know, people can talk about.
That's being good and being great, though, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
It is being good, you know, man, to being great, and those things. That once you taste it, once you feel it, once you understand it, well, then you know what, you've made the journey to get there, so you can take the journey again. Mm-hmm. It becomes that much more accessible to you.
Yeah,
you know, everybody thinks that only certain people can be great. Greatness is a choice.
Amen to that.
You know, opportunities have to be there, but greatness is a choice. You can choose to have good habits or bad habits. The choice is yours. Mm-hmm. Whichever wolf you feed is the one's going to eat.
Love it.
Yeah. When your feet hit the ground in the morning, you got the decision of what you're gonna do that day.
Facts.
Yes. Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
I correlate a lot of football and coaching. Mm-hmm. Well, just coaching in general, not even football, but coaching in general, to business and leadership. I think the 100%. Two, and we've talked about it before. I think if you're an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, small business owner, they're some of the most talented individuals in the world that were C+ students.
Yes.
Right? They figured out a way. They may not have been the smartest people in the room, but they figured out a way to do it, and there's not a quit bone in their body.
Yeah.
Right? They get to those last 6 inches, and blood, sweat, and tears all the way through it. They're gonna make it.
Right.
They're gonna get there. So I love it. I could be a fly on the wall in the film room with you all day long and just soak it all up. I just eat it up.
But the things that we talk about in that room, just to give you a glimpse into that room, right? It's really no different than the realities of an opportunity to run a business. Every day is a job interview, right? The work is free. Like these are actual things that we say. Mm-hmm. And when you talk about every day is a job interview, what does that mean? Well, man, you go in, okay, and what you put on tape is your resume, okay? What you cook, what you make, what you build, okay, and how you do it. That's part of your resume, right? The work, you know. When I say the work is free, you know, first couple of times I said that to the guys, they were like, okay, like what do you mean? Hey, look, there's no hidden meaning behind it. The work is free. If you want to get better, the get better is about you wanting to get better. That's a you and you decision. That's not a me and you decision.
That's right.
Okay, man, I can tell you that I want you to be better, but who's got to make the choice? You do. So like, that's between you and you, not me and you. And so as guys start to hear these things, they actually start to internalize them, right? You know, so now I can say it, hey, every day's a what? They say job interview, okay? The work is free. Hey, it's between you and you. I mean, it rolls off their tongue because now, man, they're starting to internalize these things, but it's really no different than what, you know, you say in your business or you say, you know, like in the classroom, and we want to encourage, but really at the end of the day, they have to make the choice. They have to make the decision to want to do. And when they do, and when you see them do it, wow, man, the confidence goes through the roof. And that's what's cool. So I say what I do is no different than, you said it already. The principles of what we do, man, they're sort of baggage and carry. I can move it from ball to teaching to being a restaurateur. It doesn't matter. Yeah. Right? I mean, we're all doing the same job.
Mm-hmm. Leading people. Yeah.
Wish we had done this about 4 days ago before I was talking to my students about business employability skills and resumes. Like I could have put. Let's just watch the podcast this week.
You know what? We can do that. I'll come talk to him.
Let's listen to Coach Mason here. So
yeah, it's great.
That's fantastic.
I love it.
Well, you know what's crazy about today? Today, man, we're in a Hunger Games economy.
Yeah,
right? we're sitting in a Hunger Games economy, and so you know, if you look at it, you know, we're fighting for everybody's fighting for, this and that. But I tell you what, that's the great thing about, being in a classroom and working in a restaurant, man. You still need people, right?
Yeah.
We have the co-ops, the ability to be collaborative.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what's pretty cool. I mean, that's what I think probably makes us who we are.
Yeah.
We enjoy the collaborative process, not just the individual. It is cool. Now, you can go make it on your own. I can go make it on my own. You can go make it on your own. But I enjoy, doing it with people.
Right.
Something we say it all the time. That rising tide lift all ships.
Always.
And you can't do it without other people.
That's right.
And I do everything in my power to collaborate versus have a competition.
I know you do.
Right?
Absolutely.
Like the whole reason that I have you here is for that, right? I got Derry here for that. I can't accomplish my goal of leaving a meaningful, lasting impact in our community without the help of people.
No doubt.
It's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
So we just got to keep moving forward, keep trying, keep building up people, keep building this, being borough built, right?
Borough built, middle made. Let's do it. Hey, I tell you,
work is free.
We need to flip seats, man. I need to ask a question. You need to be giving that wisdom. Go ahead. Preach.
Hey, look, anytime you need me to, I'd be happy to talk to you.
Yeah.
Listen, Coach, I am so happy that you joined us today. This has been absolutely amazing. The last question that I have for you before we get into our Friday Feel Good and wrap up the show is real simple. What can Murfreesboro, Rutherford County do to help you and MTSU accomplish the goals that you have set for the MTSU athletic program?
Looking at what Coach Rick Enzel, what Jimmy Borndame and our tennis coach has done, I think what they've tried to do is create culture, and you create culture by investing in people. Seriously, invest in our young people. I want to recruit guys from the Tennessee area. I want them to feel the love of what this community is, but I also would like for this community to know and understand that, hey, we got your back. You got ours, we got yours, and in supporting one another, it shouldn't be something that feels burdensome. It should be something that feels authentic. Mm-hmm. I think if I was at a Christmas parade after I got hired, and it was just cool to see folks lined on Main Street, right? Mm-hmm. Little kids, just wearing their Blue Raider, T-shirts. I mean, that was super cool to me. Jackets, hats. Folks had tremendous pride. I have tremendous pride in being a Blue Raider. I mean, our players have tremendous pride. Let's all support each other, right? I mean, Middle Tennessee, stand up. Rutherford County, stand up. Everybody, man, let's make this place not just believable, but let's make it unforgettable. And if we do that, man, it's good for everybody.
I love it. Let's do it.
Just a quick side note. Our color schemes are very similar as the Detroit Lions. Make sure you go back and look at those.
Oh, did you see the new? Did you see the helmet?
Yeah,
the blue and black.
That was sharp.
Come on,
have you seen it?
Oh, that was hot. Oh, man, that was hot. That was hot.
Y'all knew that.
Oh yeah,
it's right there in that vein. I know the blue is a little different, but you can make it happen.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, your Friday Feel Good this week is much about what we've been talking about. The only competition you truly have is yourself.
That's right.
That eventually going out there, when you're cheering on others, it will make you better. Mm-hmm. And the only person you got to beat is the person you've heard yesterday or that you were yesterday. Yeah. Those are almost cliche, I know, but it's true that you can be better every day. And when you are encouraging others to be better, you're becoming better yourself. Look, you know what to do. Find somebody you know. Tell them you love them.
That's outstanding. Coach, thank you very much. Guys, if you want to get involved, please feel free to reach out to me at charlie@singletreebbq.com. You can call me at 615-307-0120. All of my socials are really simple as well, at singletreebbq.com. or not .com, just at Singletree BBQ. Send me a DM. Feel free to reach out. Anything you want to do to get involved, we'd love to have you on the show. Till next time, we'll see you then.
Y'all be good.
Thanks for joining us today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. And as always, leave us a 5-star review and come see us at the restaurant.